Chugga, 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 chugga. All aboard the Atlanta Falcons hype train. It's day one of training camp, and we're excited that football is back.
You are Locked On Falcons, your daily Atlanta Falcons podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back, everyone, to another illustrious episode of the Locked On Falcons podcast, your daily Atlanta Falcons podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNFL, and you'll get $20 off your first purchase. So if you do not know me, I'm your very humble host, Aaron Freeman, aka Mr. Drew, aka the Jolly Green Giant, aka Mr. AKA, and I've been covering the Atlanta Falcons for almost 2 decades, formerly at FalcFans.com, RIP, still going strong here on this illustrious podcast. We're coming up on 9 years as the very humble host of the Locked On Falcons podcast this Thanksgiving, and I appreciate each and every one of you that goes strong with me as every dayers. That means you make this podcast your first listen each and every day. And all you got to do to become an everydayer is subscribe or follow for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. So today we are reacting, or should I say overreacting, to day one of Falcons training camp. Yes, so the football is back, ladies and gentlemen. And I have, of course, Jarvis Davis, Locked On Sports Atlanta. He is back from outside in the AC to give his observations from day one. We'll talk about, that Trojan War that Jarvis and I have been going back and forth on with the injury updates. We'll talk about, the almost of Kirk Cousins trade, and get into all of that. But Jarvis, we got to start things off with day one training camp reaction. You were out there sweating. What were your thoughts watching the first day of practice for the Atlanta Falcons? Real practice, not the fake practice in OTAs, real practice in training camp.
I mean, it was some good vibes, man. Just being out there, you see the grass cut and just seeing the fans actually being out there now. You could just tell it was a little bit more juice out there. I mean, I know that some of the players talked about how it really wasn't that much of a difference. They appreciate the fans being out there, but as far as for what they're doing and what they're kind of accomplish on the field, it really didn't make that much of a difference. But just kind of from a spectator standpoint, you can just feel it. It was something different out there. And then I started seeing the number 11 flying off the edge and 11 on 11s in team period. I was like, oh my gosh, what is going on? I saw Chris Lindstrom bounce Morgan Fox off the turf. I was like, oh my gosh, y'all don't have pads on? You can bounce up like that? So yeah, it's really cool to kind of see some of those guys start to mix it up just a little bit, even though they don't have pads on.
Well, Jarvis, I can't help but notice you talking about, guys in the trenches. And I'm just like, Jarvis, what are we doing here? Right? It's all about Kyle Pitts and Michael Penix. That synergy, that connection. We had, Michael Penix, he was saying, coming out, didn't even unprompted in his post-practice presser, being like, we got KP the ball today. We got KP the ball today. Going to be a lot of that. You got him answering questions about, the offense looking different. He said play action down the field. I just heard those words. I don't know what else he said before that or after that, but those were all the words I had to hear. So Jarvis, we talked about it on Locked On Sports Atlanta and Atlanta Football Party, like, straight to the moon. This offense is going all the way to the top. If we can get all these guys going, man.
Yeah, man. 30 points a game right by Tuesday. It's at 28 now. We've gone up. It's 28, not 27, 28, 26. It's 28 points right now for those who are keeping count. But yeah, man, it's hard not to get excited about this thing because, like I said, football is back. But when I actually asked Michael Penix about Bijan Robinson and what he is to this offense and what he means and how he can be an integral part of them being what they want to be or accomplish what they want to accomplish this year in 2025, I could just see the excitement on his face. Like he's almost at a loss of words sometimes when you're talking about Bijan because he's just like, man, y'all just don't understand. Like this man is the real deal. And I even asked him about, the whole piece about, having a governor or kind of limiting, Bijan Robinson. We had that conversation a little bit earlier on Atlanta Football Party. And he was like, man, give him the rock. That's basically what he said. He was like, man, just give him the ball. I don't care about all the other stuff. Like, just give him the ball and let this man work. But yeah, when you talk about what he can do for this offense, as far as helping him from a passing standpoint, like play action could be lethal this year. It could be so lethal. Like I said, all the offensive line got to do is stay healthy and continue to be one of the better run blocking offensive line in the league, man. Sky's the limit. I know I'm not trying to run the hype train. I'm not trying to do that, but I'm just saying, based off of what I see, talking to guys and just putting it all together, man, it's hard not to get excited about this offense.
Yeah. And, you know, it's one of those things on this show all the offseason long. We talked about all different ways that this offense can kind of reach that ceiling, which is, you know, the expectations are that this is going to be one of the better offenses in the NFL, even with a first-year starting quarterback in Michael Penix, and talking about all the different ways that his skill set can potentially open up this offense from an explosive vertical standpoint, and sort of been talking a lot about, you know, are they going to run play action after not running any play action last year? And sort of does that open up things for this offense a little bit more? But it does get you a little bit excited. You know, it's still early in the process, but as far as like those expectations of this going to be an offense that, you know, and Falcons' new defensive coordinator, Jeff Ulbrich, said it, where it's like, we expect to play with leads. And it's like, you're hearing a buzz and it's like, okay, all right. Like, you know, and basically I say all that because like all offseason, I'm like, yeah, you know, they've been saying also talking the talk, right? Like, but can they actually walk the walk? And it's at least today, it's like, okay, like they're off to a good start. So if we're going down that path, as far as day ones go, you know, all by all accounts, it's nice to hear that, you know, they're getting all the people involved, including Bijan Robinson and Kyle Pitts and all those guys.
Yeah, man, and kind of to back to what you're saying about, you know, just because I was sitting in the when the room when Michael Penix walked in, unprompted, man, just be like, y'all see how I got the box Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
Just know it's gonna be a lot of that. I'm like, oh, the confidence, my man.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I was like, whoa. It's something about Michael Penix, man. He just had something, the aura, as the young folks would say. He has an aura about himself. And for him to just say it like that, like he gets it, man. Like he understands what they have. He understands why people are excited. He understands what the expectations are. And they're probably a lot higher for himself because he has talked about Drake London saying, yeah, man, y'all gonna find out. He's like, yeah, you see what time it is. Okay, all the past quarterbacks haven't been able to get Kyle Pitts the ball. You know, I'm about to prove whatever. I can elevate Kyle Pitts. And that's the vibe I get from him. It was like, okay, Kyle Pitts may have some issues with running routes and all this stuff and synergy with Kirk Cousins. And last time he had a really good solid season was a downtrodden Matt Ryan, you know, was here tossing the tater to him or force feeding the rock. I think Michael Penix is ready to prove that he can elevate that guy. And that's what really, really good to great quarterbacks do in the league. Hey, they elevate guys' levels of talent.
Yeah. You know, and it's funny because with Penix, you know, when he was coming out of Washington, you know, he wasn't as valued a prospect as some of the other quarterbacks in that draft class, because I think a lot of people, myself included, looked at the receivers he was throwing to and being like, yeah, he's good, but like, you know, throwing to that group of receivers, all NFL talents, 2 of the 3 so far are having some degree of success with Jalen McMillan, Tampa Bay, Rome Odunze in Chicago, and then, you know, we'll see what Jalen Polk can do in New England now that Mike Vrabel and company have taken over. But like, you kind of looked at that and you said, yeah, he's good, but like, it's those receivers that are really special. And then, you know, those guys get to the league, they don't have quite the immediate impact that referring to the receivers that people expected for them. And so you start hearing people talk about like, no, it wasn't the receivers that were the thing that was driving that ship. It was Michael Penix. And you just get a little glimpse of that. And you're talking about, you know, the aura, as you say, you know, coming out there and saying it with his whole chest about, you know, Kyle Pitts and all that stuff. And so he's like, okay, like I like this. I'm enjoying this.
It's like you're smiling, Free.
Yeah, yes.
What's going on, man?
I mean,
Like,
it's
I don't know this, Aaron. Like, hey, I'm getting scared right now. I'm scared because you're smiling and you're talking about the Falcons. I
well,
don't
you know,
understand this.
I
Tell me, please.
appreciate you calling me out on that, Jarvis, because yeah, we got to bring the tone back down. We
Right.
can't, you know, the brand is too
We're
strong.
about to talk about Trey Anderson, so
Yeah,
I know
so we gotta, you know, we gotta
gotta
talk, we
change.
gotta bring it down. We gotta talk about some injuries or whatever. We gotta, you know, we gave you guys a little taste of the goodness here on the
Yes.
podcast, but now we got to bring it back down. So I appreciate you, Jarvis, for calling me out on that.
Yes.
So we will, you know, talk a little bit more about some of the injuries. We got a clean bill of health from Kyle Pitts, but that's not necessarily the case for everybody. And we'll get into Troy Anderson as well as some of the other players that may be sidelined at the beginning of training camp as we continue today's Locked On Falcons. I know you got that FOMO because you missed the All-Star game, you missed the home run derby, and you're thinking, I don't want to have that feeling anymore. Well, you don't have to with Gametime because they're the place to go for those last-minute tickets because they got those killer last-minute deals because you can save up to 60% because the prices on the app drop as you get closer to the start of your event, whether it's a baseball game, other sports events, comedy, music, theater. Gametime is taking the guesswork out of buying tickets to your favorite events, and you don't have to worry about the hassle of scrolling through a bunch of offers to find the best price because their zone deals are going to pick the best seats in your section for you. And they got the panoramic seat views, the no hidden fees, and the Gametime guarantee. What you see is what you get because they're going to have your back for cancellation protection and more. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime by downloading the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL, and you'll get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. So probably the biggest injury news of the day is Darnell Mooney went down at some point in practice. We didn't get an update post practice. All accounts were it wasn't necessarily something serious. So we'll see what the update is on him for subsequent practices, probably tomorrow. You also got positive feedback on Kyle Pitts' who injury status, dealing with a foot injury that caused him to miss a chunk of the offseason. Caleb McGarry missed a lot of the offseason with an ankle issue. Braylon Trice obviously coming back from that ACL tear last year. All of those guys got a clean bill of health. Raheem Morris indicating they'll have some modifications when it comes to their reps in practice and whatnot in terms of being full go. But all are looking good as things sit here. Not quite the case for Troy Anderson, Falcons linebacker who missed most of the offseason and will continue to miss time, going on the PUP list or the physically unable to perform list. And what, for those of you not familiar with that basically just means you're not healthy enough to clear a physical in practice at this stage. And when he's able to do that, he'll come off that list. That could be tomorrow. That could be 3 weeks from now. We'll just sort of have to see. And obviously, the longer he's on that list, the more we'll talk about the potential ramifications if that carries over into the regular season. A little bit later, the Falcons also made a roster move, cutting Kevin King, the cornerback. They put 3 other young players on the non-football injury list: Laquale London, the D tackle, Malik Verdon, the linebacker, and everybody's favorite undrafted corner, Kobe Bryant. And that NFI list, that non-football injury, just basically means you suffered some sort of injury away from a football field. And so we'll maybe get some updates on that in the meantime. But Jarvis, you hear all those injuries, we'll get to Troy Anderson, but of those other injuries, is there anyone that stands out in either a positive or a negative way for you?
For me, like, I guess it's a negative standpoint. Like you mentioned, like you talk about an undrafted free agent, guys. In Raheem Morris's words, the most popular undrafted free agent ever in history, most talked about undrafted free agent. And Kobe Bryant, that's kind of a little disappointing because, he got the personality. People thought he should have gone a little bit earlier than, as far as being drafted. They didn't think he was a undrafted caliber player from a talent standpoint, and production too as well. So he had a really solid career at Kansas. So when you think about it from that aspect of it, that's a little disappointing. Like, okay, what's the deal in that football injury, what you got, the flu, what's going on? You got the summer flu? I don't know, bird flu, whatever. Who knows what that is? and who knows when he'll be back, because the funny thing, and I'm thinking that coaches probably love this. They don't have to give us injury updates. They don't have to be specific. They don't have to do anything. And especially now, maybe once the games, the exhibition games get rolling, they'll have to kind of, update you as to what's going on with them. But right now they can just be vague as possible. And Kyle Pitts would be asked about injuries like, so what is a toe or was a foot injury? Yeah, I don't want to get to specifics, lower leg, you know what I'm saying? Somewhere around there. He was literally saying it like that because he doesn't have to, disclose that stuff. So when you hear non-football injury, like it could be anything. Like I think, but it could also be something that, he's not ready right now. Okay, once we evaluate a little bit more, we can probably pop back in next week and kind of see what's going on. So yeah, that's the one that kind of really stands out to me. As far as Darnell Mooney goes, and I remember, when he went down is when he missed that beautiful ball that Michael Penix threw him, deep ball. And I was just like, oh my gosh, he missed it. And then he never came back. So that's one that could be potentially negative, but I don't think it's that serious. So I'll be interested to see what happens with that. But the whole Kobe Bryant piece is like a non-football injury to start camp. Those ones kind of a little weird because it might be some behavior stuff, or hey man, I can't get to camp now. I don't know. You just never know what it could be. So yeah, of course, in the next few days we'll find out what's going on though.
Yeah. The hope is with the Darnell Mooney one, and we'll talk about a precautionary issue. A couple of states up north. A little bit. Yeah. So just hoping it's precautionary. And so I will say to folks that when you are scrolling on your phone and you're seeing the news and you're seeing someone exited practice or whatever, to not immediately go to you should be concerned, but you shouldn't go to the extreme of, oh no, this is devastating, because this time of year, they're going to be extra cautious with everybody, especially guys that are starters, where it's just like, okay, like Darnell Mooney's been in this league for a long time. He can miss a few days of practice. Like he'll be fine. And so it's one of those things where like they will be extra cautious when it comes to those injuries. So that's why if we're downplaying it, it's like, it's probably nothing, but we'll just have to sort of wait and see on that front. But Jarvis, we got to talk about your boy, Troy Anderson, or my boy. I'm sorry, because for those of you that have missed the lore here on Locked On Falcons, it was an ongoing back and forth between Jarvis and I over which linebacker we wanted to see or had the most trust in to play next to. It was the most
trust in.
That's probably a fair way to put it. More trust in. And it wasn't. I don't even know if that's why I hesitate to say it, because I don't know if I had more trust in Troy Anderson. I'm just like, I need to see it. Like, let's see it. I know what Nate Landman is. I don't need to see more Nate Landman. I want to see what Troy Anderson can be. But it was an ongoing back and forth. Jarvis was on Team Landman. I was on Team Troy.
Yes.
Landman's now with the Rams. Troy's still here
practicing,
and he's still injured. And because Jarvis, it seemed like when Nate Landman left, it was like, oh, I pulled ahead in the war, but now it's like it's come crashing back down to earth. So I will give you the floor to share whatever thoughts you have on Troy Anderson at this stage in his career.
It's kind of sad, man. Like, because, I have to go back to that Saints game. I was like, oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Give me more. Like, I want to see that. Like, as much as I, joke about Nate Landman and Troy Anderson being in position battles and all that stuff, like, I understand that Troy Anderson is more talented than Nate Landman. I'm not arguing that. My whole thing was, I knew that Nate Landman was going to be there, and I knew exactly what I was going to get from Nate Landman each and every game. He's a 2-down player. He's going to come downhill and come tackle your butt on second down, and if he's in there on third down, Falcons in for a ride, baby. I mean, that's just what it was. And I'm okay with that because I know exactly what I'm going to get. But with Troy Anderson, it can be one game, 16 tackles, a pick six, help doggone the team win the football game, and then just not be ready to play the next Sunday. I don't care for stuff like that. I want to know you're gonna be there. That the best ability is availability, my friend. And this is what has been his thing for his entire career. This man is going into his last year of his contract. This is a contract year for Troy Anderson. So guess what? Like I said, and like I felt in my little spirit when they signed Divine Diablo, that wasn't no doggone quick fix. That was a replacement signing. Hey, we know that we can't count on Troy Anderson, so we're going to sign this guy that we know he's going to be here. He has the look and feel of what we want to do on as a stacked linebacker. He has that look, 6'3", 6'4", 220, run, hit type guy, used to play safety. Absolutely. That's what they want. That's the type of guy that's a prototypical linebacker right now in this defense, in the Jeff Ulbrich defense. So, yeah, I thought that was the death signature right there. That was the death right there. But this right here, this starting out on the pup list, man, I think all expectations are out the door. They've already been there for me. If you're a Falcons fan and you were like, oh, man, Troy Anderson, ooh, it's over. It's done. It's done. It's over. It was a nice story, but, man, Troy Anderson, it's a wrap. It's a wrap for that man.
I wish I had a rebuttal, Jarvis, but at this point, you're right. Like, if the Falcons get anything from Troy Anderson at this point, it'll be gravy at this point because they have, as you said, they have moved on from him when they signed Divine Diablo, when he was their first free agent signing. Remember, that's the first addition that they made. That was the priority that they made this offseason to let's make sure we have someone who will be available at that position because we have not had that player the last couple of seasons. And so, this is one thing where we can agree on peace, Jarvis. So it's just like we're both it's the Divine Diablo show at this point in time. So
what you got?
We
zero.
we settled our peace treaty, with the other two at the end of last year when basically both of them are gone at this point until Troy Anderson. So that chapter, as you said, is pretty much closed. So we will see what we get from Troy Anderson, if anything, this upcoming season. Obviously, we'll be talking a lot more about Divine Diablo and the attention that he will bring at that position. But another player that's gotten a lot of attention this offseason, Jarvis, is one Kirk Cousins. And there was a moment this morning where the Kirk Cousins saga looked like it was coming to a close, but not so fast, my friend. And we'll get into all of that as we wrap up today's Locked On Falcons. This episode is presented by Yahoo Fantasy. Fantasy football is back. And whether it's the talking trash in a group chat, putting on your GM hat and building a draft board, or finding that hidden gem off the waiver wire that's going to win you your week, it's time to get back to all the things we live for and love. And Yahoo Fantasy is going to be right there for you. My friends from college, we've had a Yahoo Fantasy Football League, Keeper League, for 20 years now. And the reason why we chose Yahoo, because it's easy to set up. It's got a great mobile app. And of course, the smack talk just hits a little different in the message boards. And to celebrate 28 years of fantasy greatness, Yahoo Fantasy is dropping 28 big new features over 28 days, giving you more ways to play, more ways to draft, and more ways to win. It all begins on August 4th. So stay tuned and get started by creating or joining a Yahoo Fantasy League today at yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. That's yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. And let's make this fantasy season the best one yet. So like I said, there was a moment Thursday morning where it looked like the ball might get rolling on a Kirk Cousins trade. In case you missed it, New York Jets quarterback Justin Fields exited practice early this morning with what we later learned was a dislocated toe. Not his big toe, but one of his other toes, injured. Someone stepped on it and led to a dislocation, but he was carted off for, as we said earlier, precautionary reasons. And so again, that's a reminder that when you hear a player gets carted off at this time in the calendar, that they're just carting off everybody, right? You get a blade of grass in your eye, they're going to cart you off and do whatever they can. I'm exaggerating, of course, but I didn't
tell about 22. You'll be back. You'll be back tomorrow. It's all good. Man. Harlem Nights.
So if Michael Penix's do-rag gets tangled up, he might get carted off. So
yes, I would drive the car my dog himself. They're like, Jarvis, get back, man. Hey, man, I'm trying to make sure my boy's straight.
But that led for at least 30 minutes to an hour of people wondering if Kirk Cousins was on his way out, because essentially, as we've been discussing pretty much since March, April, the way that the Kirk Cousins saga ends in Atlanta is going to end with another team starting quarterback going down with a significant injury, not just, hey, he's just going to miss a couple of days of practice. Like, that's not going to cause anybody to trade for Kirk Cousins, but like a significant injury, which apparently the Justin Fields injury is not significant enough to merit that. But, Jarvis, we communicated off air, but when all this stuff was going down, so I know how you reacted to it, but let the listeners know how close did you think we were getting to the end of the Kirk Cousins saga at around 10 a.m. Eastern time this morning?
Hey, man, I was a little, like I said, man, I'm excited. It's just a lot going on. I was smelling grass. I'm seeing guys running around with helmets on, and the sun is out. It wasn't that hot. It wasn't, Hades. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't no Hades out there, but it was quite pleasant. It was a little pleasant. I wasn't sweating. I had my shades on. You know what I'm saying? I was just kicking it, man. Out there watching a little ball. But no, man, I was excited. I ain't gonna lie. I even recorded Kirk Cousins throwing the rock. I was like, I wonder if Kirko knows that Justin Fields got hurt. People start responding, being just as petty. I bet his agent does. His agent know what's going on. He probably already calling Terry right now. I didn't see. I was looking around trying to find Terry Fontenot. I was like, man, where Terry at, man? Hold up, bro. Man, don't try to doggone work a deal without letting your boy know what's going on now. Like, nah, man, you can't do that, bro. Nah. But seriously though, man, it just goes to show you this is how quickly things can change. I know people are waiting with bated breath to try to get rid of Kirk and get him out of here. That's not me. I'm cool with Kirk staying around. Like, he's got the best backup quarterback in the league. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I look at it. So, but for when that news broke, then it was just, I was like, man, not this quickly. I was like, I ain't even got settled in with Kirk being here just yet. I knew he was gonna be here, but it's like, man, Kirk about to get ready to get that phone call. I like Kirk, man. I like Kirk, man. Kirk is a solid dude, man. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if he lasts through training camp, Kirk, that is, because I think that, the way things are, there's always freak injuries in the first couple of weeks of training camp, because, that's why they have the little ramp up period. They have 5 days before they can even put on the pads, because they're not going to be able to put the pads on until Tuesday. So, I will be there. I'll be there. I'm excited. I'll be there. But so that's why they try to avoid all those things, because, first day, people trying to prove themselves, everybody going 100%, or at least most of everybody going 100%, because, some of the vets like, hey, man, I'm just here so I won't get fined, so I won't get hurt. Wait till this season get rolling. So, but yeah, man, it's gonna be interesting to see how this Kirk Cousins saga ends. Like, whether it ends at the end of training camp, preseason, trade deadline. I'll be interested to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, I've made my peace with the whole Kirk situation. I wasn't too thrilled with how the situation seemed to be heading back in March, but now I'm trying to make peace with it. Like, every day, if there's going to be something going on elsewhere in the league, it's like Kirk trade is coming. It's coming. So, I'm sure you guys will be hearing a lot more about possible trades elsewhere with Kirk all summer long. Because again, anybody gets a paper cut, it's like, oh, look, hey Kirk,
Kirk.
Hey, we got the Uber to the airport. We're ready to take you. We're ready to go, Kirk. So I get it, but
oh my god, yeah. I mean, it's funny, man, because it just how not talking about this on the football party, but I'll let the Locked On Falcons people. I hope y'all are listening to both shows. I mean, come on now, get all the Falcons content, just glutton out, baby. You know what I'm saying? But it was just so funny how the story got around the media folks. You know what I'm saying? I call myself part of the media. You know what I'm saying? It's all good. I don't take offense to that. But it's like it was. Somebody walked up on me. He's like, "Hey, you heard what happened?" I was like, "No, man, what's up?" Kirk Cousins might be getting a phone call. I was like, "Why is that?" Justin Fields just got carted off the field. It was a non-contact injury. It's an Achilles. I was like, whoa.
Like a game of telephone where it's just like,
I was like, whoa, this is too much, man. I'm like, I'm excited about ball, football field, grass, all good, the Falcons staff being nice to me and stuff. I'm like, man, what is going on out here? And then y'all tell me Justin Fields goes down. Like, why I gotta be Justin Fields? Why I can't be Kenny Pickett? You know what I'm saying? Like somebody, they got 7 quarterbacks, so they're good anyway. They wouldn't make that but whoever. Why I gotta be Justin Fields? Justin Fields still trying to prove himself in this league, man. I like Aaron Glenn. I think he's gonna do a good job up there. But yeah, man, it was just so funny how I just started circulating. And then, then my pettiness, juices start flowing. I was like, oh, well, might as well roll into it. I'm feeling it, but it ended up, of course, it ended up not being as serious. I think it's gonna be so funny. Like, cause you know how Falcons fans get, how we get, you know what I'm saying? How this whole fan base, the city of Atlanta, somebody goes down, somebody get cut. Oh man, let's pick him up. Somebody doggone, pass gas too hard. Like, oh man, let's go get him, man. You smell that? Woo, woo, let's go. Like you said, somebody break a fingernail. Hey man, doggone, Joe Flacco, Shadur Sanders, and Kenny Pickett. Both of them, all them boys got diarrhea. Man, call Kirk. You know what I'm saying? It's just going down. You just know that's where it's going next. So yeah, man, I enjoy it. It's pure comedy to me, but yeah, man, it's gonna be Kirk is gonna be he's gonna be the talk. He's still gonna be the talk of the town. Let me just say that people are gonna talk about Kirk Cousins. So y'all just calm down. People are gonna talk about him. Like I said, he's the best backup quarterback in the league. If any quarterback gets hurt for a long period of time, Falcons gonna get a phone call. I don't care who it is. It don't matter what team it is. Because nobody has a better backup quarterback than Kirko. Yeah. I know you don't want to admit it, but it's okay. It's what it is. It's the facts.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm looking for, again, as you said, Jarvis, I'm trying to find the comedic part of it. Hey,
don't get angry about it. Please don't get angry.
Tyler Shuck missed a couple of passes in practice today. Saints might be calling. They might be ready to. So I'm ready.
I would tinkle on myself if the Falcons traded Kirk Cousins to the Saints.
That would be great. That'd be great.
That would be pure.
First time in the history of the world, the Saints did the Falcons a solid. It's like, okay, yeah, we will happily trade you Kirk Cousins at this stage. Please take this and please. Oh, you're gonna take all the salary? Okay, appreciate it. Yes. Oh no. All of it? Oh, we're so hurt. No, you got to take all his salary and do all your Saints cap wizardry to make it all work under your salary cap. Yeah, I don't know. So we will see what's what on the Kirk Cousins saga, but camp has gotten off clearly to a fun and interesting start here in Flowery Branch, and so we will keep you guys covered all weekend long, all week long, all summer long. So continue to make Locked On Falcons your first listen, and of course, if you want to hear, at least all the quarterbacks that Kirk won't be replacing, go check out the top 100. Again, I don't know how to segue Kirk in the top 100, but hey, the top 100 for the Locked On Podcast Network is out there. Check it out on Locked On Sports Today, on YouTube, or wherever you listen to podcasts. It is all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.